never slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Good evening, everyone. I spent most of the day kind of watching off and on the escapades of the Three Ring Circus of yet another BS committee on the Twitter files. I mean, honestly, we just need to erect a steel cage, throw them all in there, and the last person standing wins because that's all it is. It's one label versus the other label. Not wanting to get the real information, the truth out. And it's sickening, but I've talked about this a bunch on Sons and Daughters of Liberty. The true power of information. He who controls the information controls the world. What makes, I know I don't talk much about Assange, but what makes Assange so dangerous? It's all the information that he has. He is a threat to every world, to the world governments. He's a threat to future leaders, politicians, and which is why so many people, stand with him. I don't agree with it because he is a very dangerous man. He can swing and control how elections work in any country just by leaking one part of the information. Snowden was the same way. There is a danger when people have this information. You know, much like we're seeing the video footage that was, held by Congress, by the Democratic Party for forever, and they just nitpicked the portions they wanted people to see. Well, now guess what? Now the Republicans did the same thing, except for instead of them taking the blame, they just gave it to a news personality, which just happens to be their label's news outlet. And now the same thing is being said about them. He's nitpicking for ratings and stuff, which he is. It's all about ratings because if he was a true journalist, a true man that believes in the freedom of information, he would release it all in one setting, unedited, unscripted, and just narrate it, go piece by piece. But no, we got to break it up, keep people in suspense. No, McCarthy, he knew what was going to happen by doing this. They all did. It's planned. It's all about controlling the information. Information's money. There's a reason why our freedom of speech is so important. Many of the arguments that Jim Jordan was bringing up, was freedom of speech. The violation of the freedom of speech by the the things that were brought out by the Twitter files. And that's just the ugliness of politics. But it's the ugliness of everyday life. It is about controlling information. But when our governments start to control that information, we no longer have a free society. Look at it. Look at the world before you right now. 98% of the problems we have is because of controlled information. How that information is distributed, manipulated, used to influence people, used to control people, used to indoctrinate our children. We're playing it. This is an information warfare. It's not new. Our founding fathers used information. Every society throughout history of civilizations have used information to swing the pendulums of their politics, their rhetoric, their dogmas, whatever label you want to add to it, that they've used to manipulate and control people through information. Leaving a bit of information out or changing a few words or focusing on the part of that information that applies to your cause or case at the moment and not reading the rest of the information in a whole. Information is so easy to manipulate. And we are driven by information. Our spiritual growth is driven by information. The information that we take in that spurs us to question things and to make moral decisions. What happens when those moral ideologies and values that we have is countered by other information, is used to demonize that information? And you have to look no further than the things that are transpiring right in front of you today. All this transgender, gender identity, political identity, rhetoric is controlled and driven through information. that is destroying our nation. It's destroying the world. Dictators use information to control the people, to keep them oppressed and suppressed. Back in the Middle Ages, the Catholic Church would deem people heretics and heathens if they did not adhere to the Catholic Church's word. Their word was law. Their information was law. If you questioned it or opposed it, you were a heathen and heretic. If you wrote books on science, alchemy, astrology, you were a heathen, pagan, heretic. You were the enemy of the church. History is filled with all this. But what is history in itself? His story. It is written by the conqueror, not the conquered. The conquered have their own history, their own story, their own information, which usually, in most cases, contradicts the conqueror's version of the history, of the story. And their information is suppressed. World War II, book burnings, removing of monuments. But that wasn't new. Catholic Church did it, defacing all the statues, or de facto, I can't remember the actual proper Latin term for it, putting leaves over genitalia and all this, covering up any other belief system's work. It was the hiding of information. We go back to Egypt. It has been uncovered that we now don't know the correct forms of the dynasty because some pharaohs recarved and engraved over the dynasties and erased part of the information in history. It's not new. We've been fighting about information since the beginning of time, since the person realized that their words have power, that they can make people do things by speaking, by telling a story, by sharing a doctored version of the information to mislead people, to turn them and turn their sway to you. With the advancements in technology and the easy access to information, we have now reached a point where what is true, what is fact, or what is right is always in question. But the problem is, they've also attacked it every step of the way. They've created fact checkers who don't fact check. They do as they're paid by the company that's paying them. They're not independent fact checkers. Those that claim to be independent are getting government funding. You know, the only fact checker in this world that we ever need is you. Fact check your own stuff. Come up with your own opinions and views. But we see when people come across this information, much like we've seen in the committee today with the Twitter files, with two journalists, because they've exposed this, now they are the criminals. Or to the other side, they are the heroes. Depends on what side of the label you're on. So we allow the label to dictate our own opinions. Our opinions are not natural anymore. It's controlled by a label. It is controlled by a political party or a religious belief. It ain't us being free thinkers and thinking for ourselves and coming up with our own opinions. It ain't us sitting through there reading the stuff and formulating our own opinions. Information has been so twisted that we've forgotten what right and wrong is, what morals and values are. Here we are. we'll sit here and happily and freely argue amongst ourselves, saying you're wrong, and not hear the person out and listen to what they're saying and ask, okay, what makes you think it's because of this? How do you formulate your opinion, your view on the things that you believe is? I want to know those things. Maybe I got something wrong. Maybe I listened to one side of a label too long. We got to have to also take the ability to question ourselves, question the information that we take in. And the sad fact is, you guys don't realize how much information you take in. Our minds is a very, very powerful tool, but it's easily manipulated when you don't have all the information. You don't have the tools to protect yourself from psychological warfare, things that are meant to attack the mind on a psychological level, on a frequency and vibrational level. That knowledge, many of you have been taught, is taboo. It's evil. It's occult. It's esoteric. Or whatever colorful label we want to label it as, instead of labeling it as knowledge, information, and wisdom. It's the study of the unknown. You can't protect yourself against things you do not understand. You can't see them and recognize them for what they are if you don't have that information. But you're taught to deny that information, to fight against that information. And we've had countless holy wars to prove that fact. We've had countless wars after that wasn't labeled holy wars, but it was religious people of different beliefs, of different sects, fighting each other throughout history because of their information that they were given at their places of worship without question. Because you're taught you don't question this. This is from God. This is from their divine, or whatever label you want to call your higher power, or whatever the term you want to use. We got so many terms, but yeah, even the Christianity aspect, there's 72 names of God. At least in the Judaism side of things, the more mysticism side of things, there's 72 names of God. But hey, it's information. It's information that builds your foundation, that builds your morals, your views, your beliefs. It's information that you're not controlling, that you're being bombarded with every day. You're told this is fact, and this news agency lies, which is incorrect. When they both lie, when you break it down to the bare skull or break it down to the bare bones of things, this news outlet is Democratic. This news outlet is Republican. This news outlet is more conservative. They don't stray from their political identities. And they only report based on the rhetoric of the political identities. And they condemn the other parties and other sides and pit everybody against each other. That's the type of society we're living in today. We are not a free people. We are not a free society. We are a controlled society because our information is vastly controlled. It is so controlled because we put trust in our people we elect. We put trust in our spiritual leaders. We put trust in our friends and our family. And we forget to put trust in our own selves. We forget to listen to our inner voice, listen to our inner self. When we get that feeling, something's not right here, we suppress it and we don't question it. And we go with the norm. We go with the flow of what everybody else is saying is okay without question. The most dangerous people on this world ever throughout history has always been those that question. Because those that question oppose those that try to control. Because when you start questioning things, when you start freeing yourself, when you start breaking that slavery that they put your mind in, you start breaking those chains, you start realize you've been lied to a lot in your life. You start realizing that so much that you believed to be reality and truth was a false illusion that was meant to imprison you, to control you, to deceive you. We should never be arguing about transgender, about our kids having transvestites brought into our schools for drag queen story hour or doing burlesque type performances in a non-adult entertainment building. Morality in itself in society knows this is wrong. You know deep down that this is wrong. And we all know that it's criminal because there are laws that dictate that this is not to be done within this in a not in a non-adult entertainment business setting. Some people say, "Oh, these people are just sick pedophiles." No, maybe some of them are just scared because if they step outside the norm and they take a stand, they're going to be labeled domestic terrorists. They're going to be ridiculed. There's kids that are going to be removed from the schools. In this day and age, most parents can't afford to homeschool their kids. Let's keep it real. There ain't another school district where they take their kids because in many cases you can't transfer. If you live in that school district, you can't send your kids to another school district. Granted, things have changed over the years since the mid 90s where more and more people can do that, but now you have to drive them and pick them up because they can't be bused. It's a lot harder to escape. So some people are just going to fall in and just follow grudgingly to protect the children and make sure they get the education that they need so they can get out of that situation. It's a sad reality, but we do blame them. There is blame to be made, put. You're knowingly doing that. You're just as guilty. You know? Two wrongs don't make a right. And that's how we've gotten here to this point because we've refused at every opportunity we've been given, at every major opportunity we've been given to take a firm stand where most of us would agree and back each other 100% united. We failed to do so. We've been controlled through fear. Or during COVID, when they shut all your temples, places of worship and temples down, kept you from congregating in your churches, giving praise to God, or relying on God to heal you and protect you. You allowed them to close their door. You became no better than Judas Iscariot or Peter when he denied God. You literally turned your backs on God. My opinion, but that's how I see it. When we should have all took a stand right there, they could not beat us on that argument. We could have put a stop to it, but no, we let them control us through fear through the information that they were controlling. That has been proven now with the leaks on Twitter, the Twitter files. which has been proven time and time again. Fauci lying. But we'll always have that argument because we had a change in power of the House. So now they got more power. So now they're condemning what the other side of the party was. Yet we forget many of these people on the right also voted to put and encouraged us to be locked down, places of worship closed. Only a few spoke out against it, and many bills and legislation that came about this passed it. They're just as guilty. Fauci says trust the science. I agree. Trust the science, but do your research. Know where the money's coming from and the funding's coming from for that specific scientific research. Also know was another group of scientists that were saying the opposite. Guess what? They weren't funded. Follow the money. Money follows information. Lots of money gets poured into controlling the information. When in truth, the most valuable currency in this world is just that information. It has been throughout history. There is actually no price, monetary price that you can put on information. It is that valuable. It is that precious of a commodity. It's also a thing that, people tell you you don't have no control of information. Yes, you do. You have a voice. We still have platforms. Granted, you know, there's a risk to it. 6 years as host and owner of Sons and Daughters of Liberty, creator of Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I'm talking to you just like now on, and actually far worse, where some of the things I've said, most big channels get removed instantly, get struck down. I have not. Up until October of last year, I had not received a community strike or a guideline violation. I had finally 2 videos removed. I don't know. I can't remember how long I've been here on Twitter with SDOL, which is Sons and Daughters of Liberty, which I think I've actually, other than my Twitter ad, I went to using my name for various reasons. But up until, what was it, yesterday? No, Monday. It was Monday or Tuesday when I did my last live stream over on YouTube. I shared my link to Twitter. A few things happened, and it all happened at the same time. Somehow, I was in the top 3 trending of live streams on YouTube, which is impossible. Never happens. Never has happened. I didn't even know about it till somebody popped in the chat. Yeah, you're trending on the top 3 on my list of live streamers that are live right now. I'm like, what? That's impossible because I have it set up that way to keep it out of there, to keep the bullseye minimum with, certain use of meta tags. The algorithm instantly picks up and it keeps me from being able to trend. I do it intentionally so I can speak more freely and not worry about things. Well, the odd thing is, just as that happened, I got a notification from Twitter. Twitter removed the link to my live stream that I was sharing, saying it was in violation of their policy on harmful, explicit, whatever else material. For what? I shared a live stream link, and the title was not explicit, harmful, or anything. And I know to this day, there's a lot of people still being censored on Twitter. Elon Musk has had Twitter for how long, and he still has failed to fix this from happening? It is a shame to realize we still live in a society where we cannot have true free speech, where every bit of information we speak is scrutinized. We have people now calling themselves influencers here on Twitter. People that don't do research, that has forgotten to research the term and verbiage that they use. You are not an influencer, because an influencer is somebody that influences the information, that manipulates it, that opposes their will, their opinions and views onto others. That's what influencers do. You are educators, yes. You share information. You share your thoughts and your opinions to make people think, to question things. Because I don't care. You can flat out pull something up, say it's fact. It's still an opinion, because to somebody else that might not be fact. They might have experienced something different that see, that's where we fail to realize. Most of our we're supposed to learn things through experience as well. The information we take in, we're supposed to experience it, question it. When we fail to stop doing those things, we no longer experience it. It becomes controlled. It becomes indoctrinated. It becomes manipulation. One thing I was taught, I was a big, actually a big advocate against free information, giving out things freely. You know, Forgot some of the valuable lessons I've learned. Things that are given usually aren't cherished. They're not earned. When you earn something, you have the experience, you gain the wisdom and knowledge, and you have a higher regard for it. When you take information and you research it, you learn. You have a higher growth rate and experience while you're researching it. And you don't research just what you want to hear, you research everything within it. The opposing views, what others have experienced, what other people have said. You'll eventually start finding the reality, the truth of the information, and stripping out the controlled aspect, the manipulations and influences, and you'll come to the actual truth. And it's usually the very truth that they didn't want you to know and have. That's why they created society, got society the way it is right now. Everything's so overpriced. There's more stress on people. People have less time to research and do things. I know, I was there. I was working 11, 12-hour days, 60, 70-hour work weeks. Come home. What I'm going to do, I'm going to shower, eat, sleep. By the time I get up, eat, and get dressed, and it's time to go to work again. I didn't have time to do research. And come the weekend, on my day off or 2 days off, if I had them, the last thing I wanted to do was spend time doing research. Well, because I have to go grocery shopping. I have to go take care of the bills. I have to do all this, to where next thing you know, I'm actually working on my days off just to accomplish the things that should be daily routines. Like, we're no longer daily routines. They've created this for society so they can't question things. So when they bring controlled information your way, manipulated information, that you don't have time to question it. You might know it's something might say it's wrong, but you don't have time to go research it. And you're slowly stripping your your free thinking processes out of your mental side. After COVID, during COVID, what hurt us the most? The fact that we could no longer we weren't allowed to socialize and interact with people. It was a designed process, the design to strip you of of being able to discern information because we're not talking amongst ourselves. We're not questioning narratives. We're not talking about important topics. Look at how ramped up the transgender and all this identity politics, identity genderism escalated after the lockdowns. And there's many facets to it because a lot of people did turn to social media. They turned to TikTok. They started creating videos going viral. They started realizing, hey, I get paid to do this if I do dumb things. And a lot of these transgenderism out there, they're not transgender. They're not transvestites. They're not gay. They're just doing it for the money. They're acting. They're actually cosplaying and telling you that they're not and getting paid for it because they can't make money. Well, then, along comes around, oh, no, we got to curtail that. Once that stops, we'll see a decline in it. But unfortunately, it ain't us older people that's watching that crap. It's the younger kids. So now, once again, dirty little government, they realize we can't just indoctrinate through schools. Now we'll manipulate people outside of the schools to produce this content that the kids are going to watch, and we'll further indoctrinate them through information. The bottom line is, and this has always been my bottom line, you're not an adult till 18. Your freedoms and rights are right there. Your parents have complete say and control over you until you're 18, or you do the dumb thing and get yourself emancipated. I think that's the word, where the courts will rule that you can live on your own. You're free from your parents' custody. You're basically considered an adult, but you got to go through a court process, which most kids don't win anyway. The percentage is low, but there is a legal way to do it. But no, we've had states come in, change their laws, but yet they'll say, oh no, you need to be 21 now to smoke. But we'll still take you at 18 for the military, which is completely redundant and stupid. Because as soon as they get in the military, they can buy alcohol, they can buy their cigarettes, they can shoot guns, own guns, have a sidearm. Where, back in my day, we all grew up, most of us grew up hunting, fishing, shooting guns. Hell, schools never said jack. There was no rules and laws in place about the shotgun and rifle rack in the back of our truck with our shotgun and rifle in our truck on school grounds. No, it was perfectly okay until it became not okay. To where it became, oh no, we need to keep pushing the issue of gun control. Then when you research, the gun control aspect, when you do all the research from both sides, you find that it's many cases an armed society is a safer society. But you also find that, in Europe, there's more stabbings than there is gun violent deaths here in the United States. It doesn't matter. You take away the one weapon, they'll be find something else to use. It isn't the gun that kills, it is the person that picks it up and pulls the trigger, that decides to kill. Just like I see Tim Pool. This guy cracks me up, really. Stupid poll. But it's not the first time I've seen it. It's not the first time I've heard and listened to people talk about it and suggest it. Mental health people should not possess and own firearms. What's the problem with that? And that is the very first group of people they'll target is our vets, our retired military officers, claiming PTSD is a mental illness, therefore they cannot buy and possess firearms. And for those that want to argue this, I'll take you back to the NDAAA, and Patriot Act, where they labeled our retired military people, our vets, domestic terrorists, because they have all this training. Those will be the first people they come after. And we've seen how this scenario plays out through history. But here's the information they don't want to share you. Back in the 50s, 40s, 30s, 60s, 70s, in some cases up until the early 90s with the mental institution and asylums. You want to do some horrific horror research on how a system that was created for good was turned around and used by various label groups, all the way from religious groups, all the way to political groups, and everything in between. If somebody had an opinion that differed from theirs, they would label them and have them 5150'd, committed, or have an eval done. In many cases, once you get that eval done, we could strip you of your gun rights because there's a question of your mental stability. And we've seen the horror stories are out there. I'm not even going to go through them because they're that horrific. When you start researching and seeing how bad people were getting thrown into the asylums and mental institutions just because of their beliefs and views and opinions. A group of people didn't agree with them, they'd have these people committed, saying they had a mental illness. They weren't a sound mind or right mind. So oppo- to put out a poll suggesting this tells me either you're just trying to drum up tweets and your audience, or you're just that ignorant and stupid and don't know the history of such things. And I know that's not the case in this. He knows the history of this. So why create a poll? Why influence people and not give them all the information? Now, Tim Pool is living up to what he calls himself. He is an influencer. He's no better than the people we bitch about that is trying to manipulate and control, because he does. He manipulates and controls his opinions, his views through his platforms. I first started following Tim Pool was because, in the beginning, he didn't take no sides. He put it out. He put the information from both sides out there and let you formulate your own opinions and views. He was, but he got away from that. Now it's more like he's gotten more into he's a corporate trying to become a corporation and he's forgotten where he's come from. Yeah, he still puts out good informative content, but it's something that I have to now question. Now you want people to, if they want to have freedom of speech in your chat room, they got to be paid members. He uses the censorship information to fight and gain favor with people, to influence people with, saying, this is why I'm doing it. This is why, if you want the unedited or raw version, you need to come to become a member of my website. We're going to hide it behind a paywall when there's been many good conversations that were talked about on that paywall that was needed to be heard by the people, by everyone. That would have got shared. But because he's hidden it behind a paywall, it doesn't get shared. So therefore, he's now becoming part of the problem. But I'll get suspended. I'll get kicked off. Hey, I've been doing it. I've refused to monetize my content and channels, and I've survived. I realize quality over quantity will get you very far in this life. Will get you very far on these social media platforms. But no, I got to have all these people. As soon as you get all these people, that bullseye that's minuscule on me is so huge on them that Ray Charles couldn't fucking miss that bullseye. And I agree, it should not be like that. But even he lives in fear of losing because now it's his livelihood. But at the cost of his morals and principles, at the cost of the information that he gives out freely as opposed to he charges for. All right, guys, that's just the facts. We want free information. I hear Ian speak of decentralization, decentralized networks. But in a sense, they're controlled environments in themselves. We know this. We're not stupid. We've seen it time and time again. We just choose to forget. Gab censored people. Mine censors people. Every platform censors people if it violates their terms of service. And if you even attempt to create a platform that's going to be total free speech, it is a free for all because everybody argues you can't have that content here. That's appalling. That's pornographic. No, that's actually what you get when you have a free speech platform. When you take away everything that restricts it and controls it, you have everything. And you forget the most important thing. It is your responsibility. It is your discretion to scroll right past it, ignore it, block the person so it doesn't show up in your feed again. Or see, this is one thing I do like the mines. I can go there and set my filters for turn not safe for work on or off. But then you still have to rely on the people to adhere to that when they have content that is not safe for work. My content's not safe for work. I'm a I swear way too much. I do not do family friendly podcast. I swear too much. People I have on swear too much. Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Many times I'm on there when I do videos. I'm drinking. I'm smoking. Hey, that's not appropriate for younger audiences. And, some see people say, Why do? Why? Because I made it. and stated it. My channels aren't family friendly. Channels, my podcast, these spaces are not family friendly. In fact, I'm not friendly to anybody because my opinions and views. Because at some point, don't care who you are, you might like what I say to this point, but at some point, before it's all said and done, I will probably end up offending you. Because I'll make you question something. I'll make you think. And to me, that's what it's supposed to be about. We're supposed to be making you have thought provoking thoughts. We're supposed to be making you think, question things, question the information that you're taking in. But I also want you to share that because, like I said, if you're not sharing it, how do I know I got it wrong? I want to hear your story, why you come and have that a certain opinion and that certain view. Everybody has different walks in life. Their paths aren't, nobody has walks the same path. Which brings up, which is where a lot of our thinking, our values, our morals, our beliefs, our views and opinions come from, is the experiences we have throughout our lives. Though somebody makes us question those things and see it in a different light, we might not question those things. But when we start doing that, we become free thinkers. We become a very dangerous to the world, become very dangerous individuals to governments, to news agencies, to educators. When we start questioning all this BS that's been introduced into the education system, it's appalling. What's more scary, we have people and parents out there thinking it's okay. Many of which are thinking it's saying it's okay because, well, I don't want to become labeled a domestic terrorist. You're DR. You're one step away from being slaves. Living in a complete controlled society, a dystopia that is ruled and controlled by vile, evil individuals that only care about their benefit, their gain. You become the cattle before the slaughter. You become their laboratory lab mice and rats. You don't believe me? Go watch the fucking video of the World Health Organization admitting they stopped trials on animals because of killing the animals, so they proceeded right straight to human trial. Documented fact, straight out of their own mouths. You were the better lab rats and guinea pigs. You were the lamb before the slaughter because you have no value in their eyes. Only when they need your vote or they need your money, which they manipulate you through controlled information. We've forgotten, the biggest the thing of the Revolutionary War, taxation without representation. We're constantly being taxed without representation because they no longer represent us. They just impose more taxes and more taxes. Outrageous spending budgets that go to who knows where. We have the Pentagon that's lost, I don't know, close to 3 trillion in 3 years. Last 3 years, every year it's a trillion or more that they can't find. It's misplaced. It's not misplaced. It went to black ops and black fucking listed fucking projects. Any of it, probably, in most cases, especially, if you interact with some contractors out there, they get paid our taxpayers' money that was given to the Pentagon, that the Pentagon blacklisted to private contractors to do illegal criminal activities in U.S. soil, sanctioned by the Pentagon. Yeah, we can say that's hearsay, but some of us know that to be fact. Many of us probably know that to be fact. There is a good chunk where that money went, and most of it, probably, if not all of it, did go to that. Just not influencing the shit here, but worldwide. But here's the irony of it is, we bitch about China spying, but we never bitch about how much spying we do. We all do it. It's only a crime till you get caught. That's what they tell you, right? That's how they spin it. It's only a crime if you get caught. And if you get caught, we don't know nothing about it. We didn't sanction it. We denounce you. Yes, we're no longer in the Cold War. We're in a cyber war. We're in a controlled information. But what is spying? It's all for information. It's all about the information. In the end, almost everything we're fighting for comes down to information. You know, I can see why so many people are fans of Julian Assange, but one also has to be the realist in there. He's just as guilty as everybody else because he's got that power to influence every country, every representative from stuff that people leak to him instead of, as soon as it's leaked to him, doing what Project Veritas does and instantly releasing it. He's held it. Why? That's how dangerous information is. Person that gets it, now he has all this great responsibility. What to do with it? If I do this, this and many other things will happen. If I don't do this, well, then I'm going to be accused of this and this and this. And if somebody finds out I have this, they're going to talk about it. You see the danger of information? It's one of those you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't when it comes to certain types of information. Because no matter what you do, you're going to be attacked for it. You know, I have plenty of information. I have plenty of knowledge and vast things from people I talk to. And you just know there's just some things that you just don't talk about because it might endanger somebody else's life. Then there's some things that's just too important not to. And now we start to see and truly understand the danger of information, the weight on a person's shoulders when they get certain types of information, the power that it truly holds. What do you do with that information? And can you live with the consequences thereof? I know what I can't live with. I can't live in a society where that information is being used to manipulate, deceive, and control, where it's being used to indoctrinate, to where it's being used to pit our fellow brothers and sisters against each other, to divide them, cause division, which ultimately leads people into enslavement, into a dictator system. There comes a point in time where one has to say, fuck it. You want to play those games? I can play them just as well as you, if not better. The propaganda warfare isn't new, isn't a common idea. It's just been reinvented and reinvented and reinvented throughout history. Our founding fathers used it. Rome used it. The Incas and Mayas used it. Everyone's used it throughout history. Because in the end, propaganda is the control of information. It's how you speak, how you vocalize things, it's how you word things. Yes, the pen is mightier than the sword because the pen creates the word. Then the word is spoken. And from that, it can move mountains. It can turn a peaceful protest into the mob. If you know how to use your words, if you know how to vocalize and vibrate your words, if you know how to take that information and vibrate it just right. Information, lawyers. When we talk about criminal law and lawyers and law, it is actually a salesmanship. It is your job as a lawyer. It is to sell your interpretation of the law to the juror or judge and get them to believe your interpretation thereof. He who sells their interpretation the best and convinces and influences the jury that their interpretation of that law is correct wins the case. But most of us are ignorant because there's new laws added every day. Some are changed, some are removed. And we can't keep up with the change of information when it comes to the laws. Just like today, I did not know. You can be fined, put in jail for filming a YouTube video at a national park. I did not know that. And it's so loose, the law is so loosely written. We'll see. Well, I don't, I don't allow paid advertisement online, so that doesn't apply to me because I'm not commercialized. It doesn't even apply there. It does say that commercial license or permits to film, but when you start reading it and start breaking it down, it's up for interpretation. It's so loosely written that yes, it could actually apply to somebody on YouTube that's not monetized. You might not be doing it for a commercial, but it still could actually apply to you. And there's been cases in court where people have been fined, where YouTube has removed people's channels and videos for filming in a national park. By the way, guys, I bring this up because, J6, DC, our national monuments is part of the National Park and Recreation Services. Filming a event there, a rally there, and you don't have a permit, you're in violation of the law. So technically, all that video evidence that was captured, whoever took those videos, J6, violated the law if they did not have a permit. Something to think about. It is definitely something to think about. See, and it makes no sense. Why do we have to have flaws? I mean, I get it for like a movie company. That's a business. For large companies, it's going to have lots of people out there, lots of equipment. I could get that. I could understand that. And that's exactly why that law was created in the first place, back when it was originally created. It ain't that old of a law. It's just been amended and argued in court so much to where now it affects people that do just YouTube videos or TikTok videos. Or you post it on your website, you could actually be fined or put in jail for failure to have a permit. Which, when you start thinking about it, it also covers places like DC or where any monument is, or state house, Capitol building. But that was information I knew nothing about. I was watching uh, Luke. He does what is it? Gear and Outdoor Review. I think that is the name of his channel, YouTube channel. He's on Twitter too by the same name. And he just brought it up in the video he put out today, talking about it. He's just doing a hike because he's up in the national park areas. The Appalachians. You got the Appalachian Trail, a bunch of national park area, reserves area in that area. So he does a lot of filming because that's what his content's based on. It's based on camping, testing out gear and equipment, hiking. He brought up he was getting ready to, him and his old lady was getting ready to go to Texas, I think, or somewhere to one of the national parks. They're going to hike up a mountain, and they was going to, document it and videotape it. And somebody happened to, because it was like a couple videos ago, he talked about it, and somebody just happened to send him an email. And he looked, they were getting ready to leave the next day. Well, it takes up to, I think they said up to 4 to 16 days or longer to achieve the permit, but you got to you got to write out an itinerary for like each day, the day you're going to do this, how long you're going to be there, and each day what you'll be doing. It's like, for what? Just to film you guys out camping, having fun, shooting the shit. 'Cause that's pretty much what he does, testing out gear. Literally, he has to have a permit for that. I've done things like that. I mean, I go fishing. There's a haunted spot that I've been trying to get permission to do a night investigation at. And it just happens to be a national park. So therefore, I have to actually now, on top of getting the Park Service's permission to do it, actually have to obtain a permit. Because they could later come back because the park system doesn't, you know, were rural. So, they didn't, at the time, they didn't know this. The last time I talked with them, I'm just getting their permission. I don't know. I have to go completely and get another set of permission from the state of Ohio to have a permit to film out there and document, which, I have to pay, you know, depending on and it's like I said, so loosely written. But how many people knew that? How many people that I know, a bunch of streamers that go every year or every time the inauguration is. I know some that goes and attends some of the major rallies. They film it right there on the national monument. And I know they don't have permits because, why? We're just an independent citizen journalist out here just filming our content. Oh, lack of information. or information in the wrong hands could actually get a person in trouble for not knowing. Well, I didn't know that. Well, this person doesn't like my content, so he reports it. I actually knows this information that I didn't know, and next thing you know, I could be facing legal actions for violating a crime, committing a crime that I did not know about. And there's no such thing when it comes to the court of the law of not knowing a crime. It is your due diligence, and the judge will tell you this. It is your due diligence to know the law. Ignorance is bliss. I've seen judges say that. I've had a judge say that to me. Actually, he said it to my lawyer because my lawyer did not know the case. No, that was a law. That's how messed up things are. But it is your due diligence as a U.S. citizen to know the law. It's like, wow. But I would have never known that if it wasn't for another YouTuber sharing that information. In a platform where most likely he probably could get nailed for some of his videos. At least, the ones where that law took place and where it's been amended. Anything else grandfather in, they can't actually come after him for, but you still have to fight it out in court and prove that, well, these took place at this time, this law was not in effect. The information is constantly changing, constantly adapting. Which, and actually, it was imperative to me because, as we know, I'm getting ready to move, so I'm going to be up in an area where I'm going to be surrounded by national parks and services and resource areas. And I did plan on doing some videos out there. I'm a few weeks away from that happening. Like I said, things happen for a reason. If you're open-minded enough, you're a free thinker, these things you'll just stumble across these things when it's meant for you to hear and see. That's why I have that saying on my, that's why the only pin tweet I have, probably will never change it, is one of my favorite things. You will never be free until you free yourself from the prison of your own false thoughts. Philip Arnold. The hardest prison to escape is in our own mind. Which is so very true. When we allow others to manipulate and control the information that we take into our mind, we're giving them power over us. We're allowing them to control and influence our actions and thoughts and perceptions, clear down to our views, beliefs, and morals. This is why it's so important to have a free society with free information that is not controlled, to where the only type of controlled information is put out there. Research, question everything. Question every little bit of information you take in. Don't take it as fact, face fact value. Don't take anything I say or anyone else says at face value. Question it. You want to free yourself. You want to free your mind. You want to break these chains that are binding you and the things that are currently manipulating. It starts right there with freeing your mind. starts with the simple ability to question everything. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong. You say something or I hear something, I'm going to question it. I'm going to write it down, come back and research it later. That was the whole part of propaganda, fake news. Trump threw it around so viciously. Then the left came around and used it against us. You know what the truth is? Everything's fake news. If a news outlet is reporting it as news, as as factual information, it is our due diligence to question it. I don't care what channel it comes from or what source it comes from. All sources are politically aligned to one side or the other, therefore, it is not factual. It needs to be questioned. Any scientific thing they claim as fact needs to be questioned. Everything needs to be questioned and put through the test. In the end, the only thing that matters is your own opinions and views. Knowing that and being able to respect other people's opinions and views is how we break this vicious cycle. This is how we destroy the concept of controlled information. Sure, you can control it all you want. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to be influenced by it. Your controlled information does not compute, does not affect the way I live my life and choose to live it. You can put stupid laws in place that you think is going to force me into compliance. I will find other things to do, other ways around it, or I will just challenge you in a legal courtroom. It's just there's so much stuff that we argue about that's just so dumb because it's common sense, black and white. There's just so much stuff that's happening today that if we see it for what it truly is, and it's simple, it's the very thing it's meant to divide us and pit us against each other and distract us. They're using the information as a weapon against us, and we're doing nothing about it. Oh, some of us talk about it, but what good is talk when they control the platforms we're on and how many people it reaches? All we can do is hope for is that somebody stumbles across it, and they do. It's the only thing I don't like about spaces. I cannot share this space on any other platform. I can't share what I'm talking about right now with my audience on the Minds, Gab, YouTube, Rumble, Social, and like a dozen others that I forgot to mention. Because when I do YouTube videos, that's what I do. I share them on every platform when I go live and allow people to come in and interact. I'd love to see that change happen here to spaces. We want to make spaces truly great. This is a really amazing tool that I'm coming to enjoy. Let's fix it so we can post it everywhere. Share it with everybody. Invite them in from a private link to come. Right now, I can only use spaces on my phone. I can't do it from my desktop. A tool that's not being used to its fullest capability. There are some changes I'd like to see, Elon Musk. Let's really make spaces a tool that everyone can use and keep it free. Reason I don't stream on Rumble, I'm not going to pay to play. And YouTube really could get rid of a bunch of us in a heartbeat just by making us pay to play. You want to live stream, you got to pay for the service. Most of us can't afford it. because we don't monetize. And we just go find other platforms. I mean, Jitsi, I love the Jitsi app, which is part of the Minds groups. Over in the groups they call it the Gathering, but it's Jitsi. Yes, you can do a little bit more on Jitsi if you actually go to the website and create it. It's kind of like Zoom and stuff. It's for conferencing and you know, it's awesome. But you kind of have to have good internet. But you can have people call in, invite them in per link, have a room full of people, have great conversations. But the drawback is you can only stream to YouTube. I can't put my encoder link in and stream it to Rumble, local, or anywhere else. It's strictly YouTube. Now I've got to the point past about a month now. I've been doing 1 or 2 videos on YouTube on Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I'm trying to do 2 spaces over here a week. Trying to utilize spaces more because it's another platform, another demographic of people that don't follow me anywhere else that I can give information out to. And that's the thing. That's why I'm on multiple platforms. That's why my numbers are so low on various platforms. I don't advertise. I don't tell you to like or subscribe or share. And I've got videos documenting the gimmicks that YouTube uses to throttle and not show the actual correct amount of views you're getting. Because I've got videos that are live streamed from YouTube that's got over 1,000 views and watches over on the Minds, but on YouTube, that very same live stream that was shared by a link only has 7 views. Which don't bother me. Not one bit. It keeps my little bullseye really small, allows me to keep talking about these things openly and freely. And I enjoy it. And I enjoy the fact that when I get people in my chat room, I can interact with them live, hear their stories. My chat's not blowing by a mile a minute. It's a blessing to have lower numbers. It's the opposite what they teach you. And the information that they give you, you got to have all these people. You got to have this amount of followers, this many likes. You got to have 1,000 subscribers to get access to Super Chat, to get access to be able to go mobile. I proved that fact. You don't need YouTube's 1,000 subscriber YouTube app to stream live from any location. I can use Jitsi and do a live stream mobile. In fact, I was doing it on my 2-hour commutes. I do a daily commute video. One or 2 a week. While I was driving 2 hours from work to home. I would not have known about these things if I didn't question things, search out other information. See, when people try to control the information or hide certain information or keep it a secret, people think they're stuck in this one little box, that there's ain't no other tools out there to use that allow you to get past having a low subscriber count. There's so much information out there, guys, but it's all being controlled. It's all being used to manipulate and influence people. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've enjoyed this conversation. It's one of my more funner topic for me. I always enjoy talking about these types of topics compared to just the political aspect of things. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know. Today's what, Thursday? I might do one Saturday or Sunday. I'm yeah. But with that said, you guys enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Stay warm out there. For those of us that's going to be in Ohio in the northwestern areas where it's going to be temperatures are dropping again, snow. People in the south, I know, thunderstorms, crazy weather. Just be safe out there. Stay dry. Stay warm. And we'll see you on the next one.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.